Silence is misunderstood. Most people think silence means weakness, that if you don't speak, you lose. But here's the truth most men never learn. When you go quiet, she doesn't forget you. She starts feeling you everywhere. Because silence doesn't fight for attention. Silence takes control of attention. When you stop calling, stop explaining, stop chasing, that's when her mind gets loud. If you've ever wondered what really goes through her head when you disappear, when you don't text back, when you don't react, when you don't beg, this video will change the way you move forever. Stay till the end because once you understand this, you'll never chase validation again. Point 1. The first thing silence hits is her ego. When you go silent, the first thing that gets shaken isn't her emotions, it's her ego. Most women are surrounded by attention all the time. Messages, likes, compliments, reactions. It's constant. So constant, in fact, that it feels normal, like air. But here's the thing about air. You only notice it when it's gone. The moment you remove yourself from that noise, the silence doesn't feel peaceful to her. It feels personal. Her thoughts start racing. Why isn't he reaching out? Did I do something wrong? Or does he just not care anymore? At first, she pretends it doesn't matter. She laughs, she acts busy, she might even post something to look unbothered. But internally, something feels off, because ego hates one thing more than rejection: being ignored. Rejection gives closure. Silence creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is uncomfortable. That's why silence feels louder than words. It makes her question her position without you saying a single thing. Point 2. She tests you without saying a word. Don't expect her to instantly chase. That's not how it works. Silence triggers a silent test. She starts thinking, let's see how long he can last. So she delays replies. She watches your stories without reacting. She posts things she knows you'll see. Not because she's careless, but because she's checking one thing: will you break? Most men do. They panic, they overthink, they send long emotional messages trying to fix something that didn't need fixing. And the moment they do, the test ends. She knows she still controls the situation. But if you stay calm, if you don't react, if you don't rush back, the test flips. Now she's the one wondering, why isn't this working on him? And that's when strength silently announces itself. Real confidence doesn't explain, it waits. Point 3. Curiosity slowly turns into obsession. Silence creates a vacuum, and the human mind hates empty space. When there's no information, the brain fills the gap with imagination, and imagination is always more intense than reality. At first, she's just curious. What's he doing? Who is he with? Why doesn't he check in anymore? But curiosity doesn't stay small. At night, when there are no distractions, your absence gets louder. She replays scenarios. She invents possibilities. She creates versions of you that feel stronger, calmer, more mysterious. And here's the key most men miss. Women don't miss men. They miss how men made them feel. Your silence removes the feeling, which makes her crave it. And the longer you stay quiet, the more her imagination does the work for you. You don't need to impress anymore. You've become a question she can't answer. Point 4. Her mind rewinds the past. When you're gone, her brain doesn't rest. It rewinds. She starts replaying moments you shared. Your laugh, your voice, the way you looked at her. Even the small things she once ignored suddenly matter. Silence forces her to live in memory instead of the present. And memory is dangerous because nostalgia edits reality. Arguments feel softer. Good moments feel deeper. Your flaws fade and your strengths grow. You become the best version of yourself in her mind. That's why chasing never works. Chasing keeps everything in the present. Silence sends her into the past, and the past almost always looks better. Point 5. She starts comparing you to everyone else. This is where your value rises without effort. Every other man is doing too much, texting nonstop, reacting instantly, trying to prove something. And then there's you, quiet, unmoved, unavailable. Difference creates contrast, and contrast creates attraction. She starts noticing how desperate others feel, how predictable they are, how easy their attention comes. And without you saying a word, you stand apart. Silence is rare, and rare things feel valuable. You're no longer competing, you're being compared. And in comparison, calm always wins.
Point 6. She quietly questions herself. Over time, silence does something deeper. It turns the spotlight inward. She starts asking questions she doesn't like. Why doesn't he need me? Am I not enough? Did I lose my impact on him? She knows other men want her. That's not the issue. The issue is that you might not, and that uncertainty hits harder than rejection. This is usually when she reaches out casually, a random message, a meaningless question, an excuse to reconnect. Not because she suddenly remembered, but because she needs reassurance. And this is where many men ruin everything. They over-validate, they rush back, they erase the mystery. Silence only works if you respect it. Point 7. Resistance turns into respect. At the end of the silence cycle, something powerful happens. Resistance fades, respect replaces it. She realizes your silence wasn't manipulation, it was self-control. You weren't reacting emotionally, you weren't begging, you weren't seeking approval. You stood firm, and strength earns respect. Respect creates desire, not loud desire, not desperate desire. Deep desire, the kind that lasts. Your silence told her everything words never could. I don't chase, I don't fold, I value myself. And that message stays with her.
Point 8. She fears losing you permanently. This is the stage most men never reach, because most men break right before this happens. When your silence lasts long enough, when you don't react, don't chase, don't explain, her mind reaches a dangerous conclusion. What if he's not coming back? Up until now, a part of her believed she still had control, that whenever she wanted, she could pull you back in. But silence that doesn't crack sends a new message. This man is capable of walking away. And that realization hits deep, because attraction thrives on uncertainty, but fear is born when uncertainty turns into possible loss. She starts imagining life without you, not emotionally, realistically. No more access to your attention, no more comfort of knowing you're there, no more validation from you specifically. And here's the truth most people won't say out loud. People don't fight hardest for what they already have. They fight hardest for what they're about to lose. This is when urgency appears. Her messages become warmer, her tone softens, her effort increases. Not because you demanded it, but because silence forced clarity. She realizes something important. You weren't an option, you were a choice. And once the fear of permanent loss sets in, the dynamic is completely reversed. You're no longer trying to be chosen. She is.
Words can lie. Promises can be broken. Actions can be faked. But silence is undeniable. It doesn't argue, it doesn't explain. It simply is. And when used with discipline, silence becomes strength. Not to punish her, but to protect your self-respect. If this message hits you, comment, "I choose silence." Like, share, and subscribe for more real psychology. No games, no chasing, just power.